The Indian president is leaving to address both houses of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. There are visuals coming right here.
राष्ट्रपति के पीछे सैन्य सचिव मेजर जनरल रंजीत सिंह मनराल और उप सैन्य सचिव ग्रुप कैप्टन अभय अरुण फंसालकर और आगे एडीसी मेजर अवनीश छेत्री, साथ ही मेजर रोहित रसकोत्रा।
राष्ट्रपति के पीछे आप देख सकते हैं सैन्य सचिव और राष्ट्रपति भवन से बाहर आए। अब उन्हें सैल्यूट दिया जाएगा।
राष्ट्रपति भवन से राष्ट्रपति द्रौपदी मुर्मू नए संसद भवन पहुंचेंगी। इस ऐतिहासिक बग्गी में राष्ट्रपति भवन से राष्ट्रपति द्रौपदी मुर्मू नए संसद भवन पहुंचेंगी। इस ऐतिहासिक बग्गी में और साथ ही उनके प्रेसिडेंट बॉडीगार्ड्स यानी घुड़सवार अंगरक्षक। ऐतिहासिक पल ये राष्ट्रपति जो कि देश की सेनाओं की सर्वोच्च कमांडर, साथ ही पहली नागरिक देश की, वो प्रस्थान कर रही हैं नए संसद भवन की तरफ।
Visuals from outside Rashtrapati Bhavan. These are visuals of the Indian President Draupadi Murmu as she is heading towards the new Parliament building, Sansad Bhavan, where she will be addressing both houses of Parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Those are the presidential bodyguards. And we see the Indian president leaving in the buggy along with all the bodyguards behind on their horses. She's moving towards the new Parliament building. This will be her first address in Sansad Bhavan.
राष्ट्रपति का कारवा अब धीरे धीरे राष्ट्रपति भवन के प्रांगण से आगे बढ़ता हुआ
The Indian President is all set to address a joint sitting of Parliament, which will be her first such address, as I had mentioned, after she was elected as the 15th President in July 2022. Now, the upcoming budget session of Parliament is the last one before the Lok Sabha elections.
यहाँ से आगे बढ़ता हुआ फोर्ट कोर्ट की 31 आलीशान सीढ़ियां इसमें आप देख सकते हैं।
The Indian President with her presidential bodyguards, all atop horses. The Indian President in the buggy is moving towards the new Parliament building now. Moments from now, she will be addressing both houses of Parliament. And this is to begin the budget session. Of course, today being the 31st, this is when the Indian President will be addressing both houses of Parliament, which will be followed by the Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who will be presenting the interim budget on the 1st of February, that is tomorrow.
प्रांगण जयपुर स्थित
Moments earlier, the Indian Prime Minister had addressed media and everyone outside the Parliament building, mentioning how the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam is being represented by the Indian President and the Indian Finance Minister, women bringing the budget session. It's a foggy morning here in New Delhi. And of course, visuals from outside Rashtrapati Bhavan as the Indian President moves towards the new Parliament building. The entire security apparatus moving alongside the Indian President, along with the presidential bodyguards. She received a ceremonial escort ahead of the Parliament session.
आगे चल रहे हैं राष्ट्रपति के घुड़सवार अंगरक्षक.
Now that buggy is that we see the Indian President in, we can see it in the distance behind the bodyguards. It's a gold-plated horse-drawn buggy which originally belonged to the Viceroy of India during the British era.
राष्ट्रपति भवन से प्रस्थान कर रही हैं नए संसद भवन की तरफ और काफी ऐतिहासिक पल ये बग्गी में वो सवार हैं और साथ ही साथ उनके घुड़सवार अंगरक्षक जिन्होंने पहले राष्ट्रीय सैल्यूट उनको दिया और अब आगे बढ़ता हुआ उनका कारवां.
बिल्कुल, ये निश्चित तौर से ऐतिहासिक पल है जब राष्ट्रपति का कारवां इस समय बढ़ रहा है धीरे धीरे संसद भवन परिसर की.
Now there's interesting detail regarding the buggy that you see on your screens right now, the gold-plated horse-drawn buggy. After partition, both India and Pakistan wanted this fancy buggying with them, and there was no longer a higher power to sort that quarrel. Of course, as we see in cricket captains do these days before games, they tossed. Lieutenant Colonel Thakur Govind Singh from India and Pakistan Army's Sahibzada Yaqub Khan, they let the responsibility of the buggy ownership rest on a coin, and of course India got the buggy, which we still have with us right here, and the Indian President is riding that buggy right now from Rashtrapati Bhavan towards the new Indian Parliament building. All these years later, still using the old buggy to flaunt around our newly elected presidents. Of course, there we are. We're just moments away from the Indian President's address. She will be addressing both lower and upper house of Parliament. And this marks the beginning of the budget session. The interim budget, of course, will be read out and will be brought and will be presented by the Indian Finance Minister tomorrow. It's a cold winter morning right here in New Delhi, and visuals from Rashtrapati Bhavan there on your screens. It's foggy as it has been in Delhi, which is witnessing one of its coldest winters in several years, 13 years perhaps. And there we have, of course, visuals of the Indian President with all her presidential bodyguards on top of horses. Of course, we see the armored vehicles which are also there, the escorts, the security escorts who are also moving alongside the cavalcade, and they're all moving towards the new Parliament building. Absolutely grand. And the buggy which is in the center of it, a brief history of that is what I've just brought you. Of course, it was used many decades ago. It is a gold-plated horse-drawn buggy, which was originally, it belonged to the Viceroy of India during the British era, but it has stayed in India as India and Pakistan, they tossed for it during, or rather after partition. And India was the one who won the toss and brought the buggy and retained it here. Coming down Rashtrapati Bhavan, moving towards the new Parliament building. There we have a slightly closer view of that buggy which I just spoke about. It actually, after 1984, that buggy was not frequently used by any president, and that continued for a couple of decades. While they did use it now and then, it was properly used again in 2014 by former Indian President Pranab Mukherjee. The buggy was initially also used to move around in the 320-acre residential space. It was not only used for ceremonial purposes, but over the years, as President's security grew tighter, the use of the buggy, it lessened, limited to ceremonial formalities at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. But as we're seeing now, it is once again being put to use. And that is the mode of transport that, of course, the Indian President is using at the moment to move from Rashtrapati Bhavan all the way to the new Parliament building. Beautiful visuals there of the presidential bodyguards on top of their beautiful horses, all trained to move alongside. Following the buggy, the gold-plated buggy, where the Indian President is moving. Now, her cavalcade has left its en route Parliament. It's left Raisina Hills ahead of a joint sitting of Parliament. You see the Indian President's cavalcade is coming down with the horse-mounted bodyguards towards Parliament. The President has received guard of honour, after which she left for Parliament. Now, this is the Indian President's first address. Rather, this will be the Indian President's first address in the new Parliament building. The Indian President has left Raisina Hills and will be reaching the Parliament through Vijay Chowk. Absolutely beautiful visuals getting there. This is the entire route that is taken by the Indian President at the moment. And we, of course, see vehicles in the back as well. The entire cavalcade moving in tandem, moving in one line, moving together. Absolutely grand welcome and a grand movement right there. The Indian Prime Minister moments ago had addressed media and also mentioned that how India is carrying forward the Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, and a clear indication of that is India's President addressing both houses of Parliament and, of course, India's Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, who would be bringing the interim budget on Thursday, that is the 1st of February. There we see them moving towards. It's about a 10-minute movement from Rashtrapati Bhavan down Raisina Hills and going right towards the new Parliament building.
नया संसद भवन भी है जिसका निर्माण किया गया. उसमें आज अभिभाषण, विशेष अभिभाषण होगा राष्ट्रपति द्रौपदी मुर्मू का, और ये धीरे धीरे राष्ट्रपति का जो काफिला है आगे की तरफ बढ़ते हुए नए संसद भवन की ओर. राष्ट्रपति के घुड़सवार अंगरक्षक, जो कि सेना में सबसे पुरानी रेजिमेंट है, वो साथ चलते हुए इन तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं. और ये नया संसद भवन जहां पर राष्ट्रपति द्रौपदी मुर्मू का काफिला बस पहुंचने वाला है. लोकतंत्र का मंदिर और भारत की लोकतांत्रिक आन बान शान का प्रतीक. सत्यमेव जयते इस पर अंकित. इसका जिक्र भी आपसे कुछ देर पहले प्रधानमंत्री ने भी किया.
There you saw the new Parliament building ahead, and there it is in front. That is where the Indian President is moving towards, moving from Rashtrapati Bhavan all the way to the new Parliament building, where moments from now the Indian President will be addressing both houses of Parliament.